This podcast is part of Mishmash Media. Hey, buddy.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Welcome to another episode of Curbcast. My name is Ivan.
And I'm Stephen.
And Curbcast is a podcast where we review every episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm scene by scene in chronological order. And we have started on Season 7. We are now up to Episode 2. I think a Curb classic, Steve. One of my favourite Curb episodes in, probably a few weeks because Season 6 has been so amazing. But Season 7, Episode 2, Vehicular Fellatio. What a name.
I know. You almost want to say vehicular manslaughter because it's such a common phrase. But yeah, vehicular fellatio, bit of a mouthful, quite literally, for lots of people in this episode. Yeah, no, fantastic episode. It's considered a classic amongst Curb fans, and I can understand why. It's just got everything that you want in a Curb episode. Lots of moving parts. Larry just being an absolute piece of shit, trying to figure out a way to break up with
Loretta, his cancer-ridden girlfriend.
With his, who's struggling with cancer. Just, it hits it out of the park in every respect. Fucking Leon's on fire in this episode. He's killing it.
He's great, he's
so
like, you don't tell someone that their life is beautiful unless you're fucking her. And then Larry's like, oh, you didn't tell me that. And Leon's like, I am fucking her. It's like, what?
Yeah. Out of the blue.
Larry's like, what are you doing? What the hell?
Yeah, no, fantastic episode. Richard Lewis is in it. He was good. Jeff, just, cracker of an episode.
Yeah, it was very good. I really enjoyed this one a lot, and I'm looking forward to talking about it. But anyway, a bit of housekeeping, I guess. You can listen to this podcast on any podcast service, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever. We do have a Patreon as well, patreon.com/mishmash media. You can pay $1 a month if you want, and you get access to Curbcast episodes early, a couple of days or so earlier before everyone else, and you're supporting our burgeoning podcast network, Mishmash Media. And Stephen, you can contact us in different ways.
That's right. We've got an email address, curbcastpod@gmail.com, and we're on social media as well. Curbcastpod is our handle, and you can check out what social media we're on in the show notes.
Indeed. All right. You want to get into it, buddy?
Let's do it.
All right. Season 7, Episode 2 of Curb Your Enthusiasm. Makes me laugh every time I look at that title. Vehicular Fellatio. Here we go. Aired in the US on HBO for the very first time on September 27th, 2009. Larry deliberately tries to annoy Loretta against the advice of a renowned doctor. Later, Larry dooms Richard Lewis's new relationship and ends up profiting from Leon's indiscretion with the wife of a depressed pal. And profiting, we'll explain later what the profiting means. It's kind of, we mentioned last week, Larry trying to get out of the relationship with Loretta. Very George Susan-esque in Seinfeld, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. There were quite a few Seinfeld parallels in this episode, that being one of them.
Yeah, I know. And then something that's out of his control and the relationship ends. Spoiler alert. At the end of the episode.
Out of nowhere, and he gets lucky, and it all just sort of happens how he wants it to.
He does, and there's lots of highlights in this one, Steve. We find out that now the cancer doctor that Loretta goes to, she possibly partakes in vehicular fellatio with her husband, which disgusts Larry, and Larry confronts her, and he has a bit of a problem with trying to open up a plastic wrapping on a GPS. He gets what's called wrap rage. Apparently it's a real thing.
I felt that so hard when he was... I mean, I don't get as ragey as he does, but it was similar to the episode with the smoke alarm. Just that, like unreasonable rage that you get. You're just like, shut up!
Yeah.
I felt the same when he was trying to open that plastic. Like, those packages are designed... It's almost like the packaging companies are just trolling the human race. Because it's just...
They are trolling,
Unless you do have, like, a really good pair of scissors, like a thick... almost like sewing scissors or something, like heavy duty ones, or a Stanley knife, or as Americans call them,
box
cutters.
And the box cutter that Larry ironically has in plastic when he goes to open it up at the end.
Yeah, is so good. So good. Yeah, and I thought that was a good unexpected turn of events because when he goes to the shop to buy one, he picks out one and it's not in packaging.
Yeah.
So you think he's just given the knife with no packaging, but when he needs it at the end, that was...
Yeah. He just got the display. He saw the display model, and then he just got a packaged one.
But that rage that he felt of trying to open something is, I felt that hard.
Yeah. That box cutter company, they're definitely trolling.
Oh, for sure. It's just teasing you.
Teasing indeed. And it actually, like I said, it is actually a phenomenon. It's called rap rage. And supposedly thousands of people every year are injured because of it.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Fingers
people
cut off and scratches and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, just people getting frustrated and, being a bit wild about it. Yeah, I can see people getting injured for sure.
You might have noticed as well, Stephen, that there were some sparks when Larry's trying to open the GPS. He pulls out the cooking knife or the kitchen knife to try and cut it. You might have seen like a few yellow sparks that popped out very briefly. If you watch it, it's like a split second. You can see it. The sparks were visible because he was on a marble worktop. And apparently, if you hit the kitchen knife hard enough on the marble, it creates sparks. So that really happened to Larry. They were real sparks that got caught on camera. If you go back and watch that scene, it's like a split second. You can see like a few yellow sparks.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I saw that too. And I'm like, because I thought maybe it was like an effect or something, but I went on the trivia and no, it's they were real.
There it is. Okay, interesting.
And the other bit of trivia I have, Steve, bit of a continuity error. Larry remarks that receiving oral sex in the car is dangerous and there should be a law against it. But you probably remember, Stephen, Amco in season 1 that Larry wins a bet Cheryl has to give him oral sex in the car. So he's a bit hypocritical here.
Or maybe he's just changed his. It's been what, 7 years, 6, 7, 8 years.
Oh, since that event, yes, that's true.
Yeah,
7 years, maybe, 6 years.
And also, he seems to be a lot more bitter after Cheryl leaving him. Like, I think he's extra cunty in this episode.
He is, yes.
We'll talk about why. I think most people would agree, and I think you agree, Ivan, that it's probably his we said last week, I think that he was at like bottom or top 5 most cunty Larrys, and I think this episode is actually worse than last week, and I would say like top 3 or bottom 3, depending on how you want to describe it. And it feels like he's just extra shitty after Cheryl having left him. So it doesn't surprise me that he's like a bit resentful of the fact that he doesn't like vehicular fellatio. I don't know. That could be off, but that's just my take on it.
Fair enough. Well, it's totally understandable, but you're right. He could have had a change of heart, and who knows? Maybe he tried to coerce Loretta to do it, or maybe like in a off scene sort of thing. And she's like, "No, I'm not doing that shit. What do you think I am, LD? Hooker?" She probably would have said something like that. What are you talking about, LD? I don't want to do that shit.
I ain't sucking no dick.
I ain't sucking no dick. I'm not some crack whore. Not sucking your dick in a car. She would have said something like that.
That's some bullshit, Larry.
That's some bullshit, Larry. And then he would have consulted Leon, and Leon's like, "No, you can get head in the car. That's fine."
Yeah.
That's good shit, Larry. Classic. We're just coming up with like random scenes that never happened. I love it.
I think they're believable.
I think so too. Well, I think it's kind of, our previous podcast, Bidwabask, those days. I think, we came up with a lot of hypotheticals. So I think that's kind of, transcended into this podcast somewhat as well.
Yeah. I think it's a skill we have now.
Yes, it is. Imagination skills. Yeah. All right, let's get into it. Vehicular Fellatio Scene 1. Larry receives a gift from Jeff and Susie, which is a GPS, and he reads the card. He goes to open the very tight plastic packaging, and he struggles. He tries using different things. He tries a small kitchen knife, like a cutlery knife, and then he tries a screwdriver, which makes him very mad. He moves on to a kitchen knife, and he's he's emitting like primal screams, and he's grunting, he's raging, he's really he's become really like primal.
Yeah, he's losing it.
It's almost like a ape, isn't he? Trying to open a coconut or something.
Yeah, it's like a monkey with a coconut or something. Yeah, you're right. Like I've never gotten that crazy, but I understand that frustration. I'm just like, why? Like, why is it so hard?
Why is it so difficult? I have been in those situations. I really hate, like you said, that hard plastic. That really does my head in. I know it's probably for like packaging purposes and maybe to keep it secure, but that hard plastic really does my head in too. I know, I hate it.
Yeah, it just boggles my mind as well of like, think of about what the human race has done. Like we've sent people to the moon, in the 60s. We've just put a $10 billion telescope up that's taking photos of, the deepest, most ancient parts of space, but we can't invent packaging that is like this, that is secure and hard, but is also easy to open. I feel like, I don't know, there's something fell off on the way to this plastic journey.
It did. Even putting like a perforated edge in it, and then just rip the perforated sections off. And then it comes open. That seems
like an entrepreneur's problem to solve. You know how they say, like, I listen to a lot of entrepreneur podcasts, and they always say that like, a good business idea is not just creative, it's also practical.
Yeah.
It's you got to find a problem to solve and then figure out how to sell it to people.
Well, here we go. Here's our idea. Let's go into, we have Mishmash Media, our burgeoning podcast network. Let's go into the plastics industry. Mishmash Plastics Proprietary Limited. What do you think?
Yeah, love it.
That'll work. Plastics and podcasting. A weird mix, but hey, it might work.
Hey, whatever. It's
Whatever.
2022, baby.
It is. You can be whatever you want.
Exactly.
Loretta calls for Larry from the bedroom, and he gets so mad that he stomps on his gift. So, yeah, he's that frustrated. He takes all his anger out on an inanimate object. Good for you, Larry. Loretta is watching TV in the bedroom. She asks for the channel number for what she wants. She wants to watch a particular channel. I think it might have been E. I think it might have been the entertainment channel. Was it E? E channel?
Yeah, it's the E channel.
E channel, yeah. Larry gets annoyed that he's asked for simple things like this and why he has to go upstairs for that sort of stuff. Loretta says, well, I have cancer, Larry. And then Larry's just like, oh, okay, fair enough. Larry complains about the hard plastic packaging on his gift. Loretta asks for Larry to take her to a hair and nail appointment. Larry says he's playing golf. As soon as he said this line, Steve, very interesting throwback to last week's episode. Dr. Schaefer recommended to Larry not to play golf at all. So you can see the seams kind of falling apart on the relationship. He's basically not taking the doctor's advice and being with Loretta by her side. He's kind of not heeding that advice anymore. Interesting.
Yeah, he's just selfish. The idea of putting his own desires aside to tend to his girlfriend's difficult situation is just like, he thinks he can do both, and he doesn't think that there's anything wrong with putting his own desires aside.
Yeah, I know. It was just interesting how Dr. Schaefer recommended no golf, like nothing at all.
Yeah.
Now suddenly he's just playing golf. He's like, fuck this.
Yeah.
Very selfish indeed.
Totally. I just said he doesn't think there's anything wrong with putting his own desires aside. What I meant to say was he doesn't think that there's anything wrong with fulfilling his own desires.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah. Fulfilling his own desires. Yes. That's right. He thinks, I'll just put my needs ahead of hers. It's fine. She'll be right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what does he say? She's like, do you know what it's like to have cancer? And what does he say? He's like, no, but I know what it's like to be with, to be with someone who has cancer.
Yeah.
It's like, Larry.
He's just like really rubbing it in, isn't he? Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, he's really
brutal.
Loretta asked for Larry to take her to her hair and nail appointment, and Larry says he's playing golf, and he asks how cancer affects her driving. She's like, why do I need to do this? And she goes, I have cancer, Larry. And he's like, how does cancer affect your driving? Larry says he's going to dinner with the Greens as well as Richard and his new girlfriend, and he asks Loretta if she wants to go. She asks if there'll be any black people there. Larry says no, and she refuses. She's like, are there going to be black people there? And he's like, no. No, I don't
like, well, why would I want to go?
Exactly. Why? There's got to be at least one black person. In this scene, it's very, I don't know, it seems like there's lots of messaging going on here. Like I said, with Larry basically refusing the doctor's advice for not playing golf in last episode. And he's just not really, he's kind of really frustrated with Loretta. I'd imagine Loretta's probably asking him the most basic shit, kind of, and he's really got on his nerves. I could imagine he's getting really, really annoyed. Yeah. It's not the first time she's asked for simple stuff like that.
No.
Loretta's, she's coping with her sickness, her illness the best she can. But, Larry is not coping too well in his own way as well.
No, and he's not helping her cope, I think on some level Loretta realizes that Larry isn't the most supportive partner, so she kind of has to step up to her own plate a bit more. I think she knows that about him as a person, so she's, you know what I mean? Like, she realizes on some level that she kind of has to be more self-reliant.
Yeah, she kind of has to be a bit more assertive too.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas ordinarily, people would just kind of do it because it's the right thing to do. Yeah, and I don't know, but it's funny how she realizes that, but she also, until, later in the episode when they see the doctor, she seems still okay with it. Like, she doesn't, I don't know. It's a weird situation, that he's obviously just being a straight up jerk, but she's like she's pushing back, but she's also tolerating it. I just found it strange.
It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
Let me put a hypothetical to you before we go to the next scene. What if it was Cheryl that had cancer? Do you think Larry would react like this?
Oh, no, he would be. I mean, he'd probably be a bit jerky from time to time, but I don't think he would be, openly resentful towards even just, changing the channel or bringing her something while she's on the couch. I think he'd be much more loving and caring because, it's his wife and he loves her. I think Loretta, they obviously have some sort of bond, but I think she's pretty much a rebound relationship.
Yeah.
And, he didn't expect it to be in a situation where he would have to be committed long term, because he's still on some level is trying to get Cheryl back, like he's he still loves her, he still thinks about her, he still talks about her. So I think he's in deeper than he thought he would be with supporting Loretta. So I think it would be totally different. What about you?
Well, I kind of agree with you. And I remember when we talked about the Bat Mitzvah, the season 6 finale, you did have criticisms about how abrupt Larry and Loretta's courtship was. Like there was there were a few subtle indications throughout the season that something might happen, but it wasn't really enough to kind of convince us until like the last second. So I feel like as well, Larry, I think a lot of it is probably Larry feeling lonely and feeling like, a part of him's been removed after Cheryl, left him. And I think, I think Loretta's kind of like that, kind of like more the person to fill that void for him more than anything.
Yeah, she's an emotional rebound. And also, because they did have a friendship before, it wasn't, there wasn't that need for like an awkward getting to know you stage during the dating. Like they kind of already knew each other's personalities and, flaws and stuff.
Well, they lived together for a season. So
yeah, exactly. So they would already have a rhythm together. So I think that was a reason why. I mean, he obviously likes her or loves her or cares for her on some level. He's not just, using her, but I don't think he expected to be, in this long-term committed relationship where he's also got to be, the support person for her going through cancer. I think he's just, according to him, he's just way too deep.
It's like this isn't what I signed up for.
Exactly. Not that makes it okay for him to be a cunt, but I think that's where he's coming from, and he just wants Cheryl back.
Yeah, and if it was Cheryl who was sick, he would take care of her. He'd probably be mildly annoyed like once in a while, but
yeah, I'm sure he would be a jerk. Like he never passes up an opportunity up to be a jerk, but I don't think he would be as cold as he is with and uncaring as he is with Loretta.
Oh well, it's interesting. It was just a question that came to mind. That's all.
Yeah, no, it's a good question.
What do you think, gang? Do you think if Cheryl had cancer, Larry would be nicer to her? Let us know. Send us a post on Facebook or send us an email. Let me know. Let us know what you think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Leon is playing pool and he asks Larry if Larry can call a friend of his who is a huge Seinfeld fan. And Larry says, yeah, that's fine. And Leon's like talking up his friend. He goes, oh, huge friend. Huge Seinfeld fan, I should say. Loves the show, loves it. And Larry's like, yeah, that's fine. All right, whatever. I'll do it.
I like how Leon says, I never really watched it myself.
Yeah. He's like, no, it's not my kind of show, but
yeah.
I could imagine, I don't think Leon would like shows like Seinfeld. It just doesn't seem like his kind of humor. He'd probably like more kind of, I don't know, maybe like, I wouldn't say low class. No, I'm not going to say low class. No, some like toilet humor and stuff's funny, but I think he'd probably like, I don't know, more
something a bit more lowbrow.
Lowbrow slapstick kind of stuff. But even that slapstick stuff can be funny too. Like, not everything has to be like highbrow.
No, you can have like, there's a lot of slapstick in Frasier, and Frasier's like a very intelligent, nuanced show.
Absolutely.
That deals with a lot of heavy shit.
And I love Dumb and Dumber. That's one of my favorite comedies, but it's just dumb slapstick, gross.
Yeah, I think that would be more Leon's. Yeah, I think that would be more Leon's style. He's a thinker. He's a doer, not a thinker.
He's a doer, not a thinker. Yeah, he has to get those instant reactions. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, it's just funny. It's like it's not my kind of show. I didn't really watch it. And Larry's like, oh, okay, whatever. The scene cuts to Larry. He's in the kitchen cutting fruit, possibly, I assume, for Loretta. As Dr. Phil is on the TV, and he is interviewing a cancer doctor who's also writing a book. And the book is about how she helps couples or people with cancer walk away from a toxic spouse who either has cancer or is related to a cancer sufferer. And Larry is mesmerized by the interview. Isn't it serendipitous how that show was just playing in the background as Larry was cutting fruit?
Yeah, and her description of a toxic partner is just Larry to a T. She's like argumentative, obnoxious, and then she says, and also obsesses over minor details for this, forsaking a harmonious relationship. And his eyes just light up. He's like, yes, that's me.
Well, the doctor does confront Larry, or Larry confronts the doctor, Dr. Trundle, later on about it. And Dr. Trundle says that Larry is exactly who he is in the book. Exactly. How she describes it, like word for word. So there you go. He's everything. It's like George is like, I'm neurotic, I'm selfish, I'm depressed. I have it all.
I have it all, baby. Yeah.
That's like Larry's I have it all moment.
Exactly.
Love it. Larry talks to Loretta about recommending a doctor that he heard about, the one on TV. And Loretta asks, where did you find out about this doctor? And Larry says, I found it from a friend. And he goes, what's the friend's name? Phil. He doesn't want to say that he's heard it on the TV, and Loretta accepts because Larry's booked in an appointment with Dr. Trundle. That's her name. Yeah, I love how she's like, where'd you hear it? Which friend? Phil.
Yeah, and he's like Phil Jameson.
Yeah, he's just trying to come up with like a random name. He's like Phil James something. Yeah, he's like kind of the surname's kind of like gibberish. He's just kind of like Phil James and
just mumbles it.
Just mumbles it, yeah. And Loretta's, she's convinced. She's like, all right, we'll give this one a go. See what happens. Larry's in the car. He calls Leon's friend in the car to wish him a happy birthday. The friend is very happy. They talk about Seinfeld and all that sort of stuff. Everything seems to be going well. Larry mentions his wife because we forgot to mention that Leon did say that his friend has a beautiful wife. And Larry says that Leon commented about the friend's beautiful wife. The friend gets angry. He asks, why is Leon telling him about his beautiful wife? He gets really, really mad, and Larry doesn't know what's going on. He's very confused, and the man hangs up. Oh, Larry hangs up on the guy as he's getting very violent. He's even saying things like, I'm going to find out where you live, motherfucker, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I love how Larry's like, okay, bye.
Okay,
all right.
bye.
Yeah. The friend's name is Alton, by the way.
Alton, yeah, that's the one. Like Alton Venice.
Exactly. That's why I remembered it.
You did. One of your favorite secondary characters on Seinfeld when we did Bimbo Bask. Classic. Tail gunner. Blow his brains out all over the Pacific. I love it. We had a kid play that in Korea. Love it. Yes, Alton, his friend. But yeah, Alton gets really shouty, really violent, really threatening as well. Because we find out that if a person calls your wife beautiful, it means that you either want to fuck her or, in Leon's case, you are fucking her. We find out later on.
That's news to me. That's news to me. I'll be more careful about complimenting my friends' wives.
Yes. Larry meets Jeff at the restaurant for dinner, as he also sees Richard's new girlfriend. So Jeff is off in the distance, and Susie, Richard, and his new girlfriend are sitting down. Jeff opines to Larry that Richard told him that his girlfriend gave Richard oral sex in the car. Larry disapproves of any jobs in the car. Hand jobs, head jobs, whatever, right? He disapproves of anything of the sort, which is contrary, like we said in the trivia for the episode, to season 1, where he was for it. Larry greets the others, and he's introduced to Richard's girlfriend named Beverly. Susie is complaining about the lack of service, as they haven't got any drinks or anything. No waiters have come up, nothing. Very disappointed. Larry asks about Beverly's drink, because she's drinking an interesting, looks like a cocktail sort of thing. She offers him a sip. Larry refuses, because obviously he knows about the oral sex situation, and she hasn't brushed her teeth or anything since that event. So Larry refuses, and she seems kind of mildly confused as to why she won't take a sip. Even Susie's like, take a sip, Larry, and then Larry's like, no, it's fine. The scene cuts to dinner, and Jeff is asking if Larry can go to Michael York's party. Larry complains also about the packaging on the GPS he was gifted. Richard and Beverly finish dinner, and they are off to go see the film Last Tango in Paris, as Larry mocks Marlon Brando's character in that film, and he hates the film Last Tango in Paris.
Yeah, he really lays into it.
He does, yeah. He even mocks Marlon Brando and stuff as well. It's it's funny. For those who don't know, Last Tango in Paris is a film from the 70s. It's like one of those art housey films. It's actually a French film, but English speaking, and it stars Marlon Brando, and he's an American guy in Paris, and he dates a much younger woman, like half his age. So yes, but it's really, I don't know. I think there's nudity and stuff in it as well, but it's very art housey. I don't know. It's just not my sort of thing. But Last Tango in Paris, one of the more famous films. So there you go.
Cool.
So Larry's mocking the film, and Marlon Brando and Richard's getting pissed off at Larry. Beverly reaches in to go kiss Larry's cheek, and Larry moves away. She gets mad at him and walks off. She's like, I was looking forward to meeting you, but now I wish I didn't. And she's very disappointed, and she walks off in anger. Richard asks Larry what the hell's going on. Larry claims that he has a cold sore, as Jeff behind Richard's back begs Larry not to say anything about the vehicular fellatio. Richard is mildly convinced, and he walks off. So Beverly, she seems like a nice gal, but Larry didn't want to go near that mouth because Richard's pecker, I guess, was in there.
Yeah, I can understand why she's a bit upset. I'd be insulted if someone didn't want to, kiss me or take a sip of my drink and didn't tell me why. If they told me why, I'd probably be like, okay, fair enough. But
but not because of oral sex. You don't want to ruin the relationship.
No. I'd want that to be something that no one else knew about. But I get why she's a bit upset.
Although during the COVID times, you can get away with not sharing drinks and kissing anymore. You can just say,
of course. But
these days you're like, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, this is before the plague, so different time.
Was this swine flu era? I think swine flu was out around this time, wasn't it? He probably could have used the swine flu excuse, but no, it probably wasn't the swine flu. It probably wasn't as prevalent as COVID.
No, I don't think swine flu. It wasn't millions of people. There was no lockdowns or worldwide shutdowns or protests or anything like that.
All that good stuff. No.
Yeah. All the good stuff.
All the good stuff. No, it wasn't there, but no, fair enough. Well, like, look, honestly, if I knew that someone, filleted one of my friends in the car and I found out, I probably wouldn't do the same either.
Yeah.
I'd probably do the same. I'd be like, it's fine. No hugging and kissing. It's totally fine. Although if it's like the next day and, you assume they brushed their teeth or something, it's like, yeah, okay, that's fine. Or you've had a shower or something.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, if those germs are still there, then...
Yeah.
Sorry. The next day, Larry walks into a hardware store to go purchase a box cutter, or as we call them in Australia, a Stanley knife, as Leon calls out to him from the street and he walks into the store. Leon says that his friend claims that Leon was having sex with his wife, the one that Larry said was beautiful. And Larry said, but you told me his wife was beautiful, I just wanted to say that and stuff. And he goes, yeah, but when we say beautiful wife, it usually means we want to fuck them. And Leon says that he actually is having an affair with her for real. Leon says that him and Larry are now together in this mess and they both need to resolve the situation. He says something like, we're one, motherfucker, or something like that. We're both in it together now. So Larry's in on the situation because Anton probably wants to physically assault Leon, and probably Larry too.
Yeah, I think he's just embarrassed and he wants to try and take that out on anyone who knows.
My favorite part of this scene is when Larry's like, oh, that's fine. You're probably not sleeping with her or something. And Leon's like, no, I actually am fucking her.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Jesus. For real. Oh, I love that. That was just so good. Because you think maybe Leon, there was probably going to be a scene where Leon's going to try and convince Alton, oh, look, I didn't fuck her. I'm sorry. For the misunderstanding. But he's like, no, I actually did have sex with her.
Yeah.
It's like totally unexpected. It's like, oh, okay.
He's like, hey, I'm fucking Larry.
Yeah, I'm fucking Larry. Larry's like, what the hell? And he walks off and Larry orders his box cutter, which it's unpackaged. When we mentioned it's possibly the display model, but later on we find out he bought a packaged version of the thing. Love it. Loretta and Larry are at the new doctor's office, Dr. Trundle, as Larry is pretending to be annoying, so Dr. Trundle can suggest that Larry break up with Loretta. So he's doing all these dumb things. He's asking about these African artifacts, and he's like, oh, look, Loretta, African. See, you could probably relate to this, trying to be racist and stuff as well. And Larry's like, what, because I'm black? And Larry's like, yeah. He's just being casually racist. Yeah, he's just being really obnoxious deliberately.
Yeah. Dr.
Trundle asks if they're in a happy relationship. He's still being very obnoxious, doing different things, and even asking Dr. Trundle some dumb questions. Dr. Trundle says that she would like to speak to Loretta alone and ask questions. Larry walks out of the room and begins to talk to Loretta, and then she says to Loretta that she has something she wants to speak to Loretta about in private. And she needs to hear something very, very difficult. I assume she probably dropped, she was probably saying that Larry's obnoxious and she should split with him. Is that what you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's when she would have told her for sure.
Yeah. He wasn't just being obnoxious, he was being racist and stuff as well, full on. Really,
oh yeah, he was
sexist, everything.
Yeah, he was
doing everything.
He was trying to be the worst version of himself just to really drive home that he shouldn't be with Loretta.
Yeah, he's putting his dignity, throwing his dignity out of the window and his self-worth to try and look bad in front of Dr. Trundle. So him and Loretta break up. Pretty sociopathic shit, if you ask me.
Yeah, for sure. He could just break up with her.
Yeah, easily. But remember, you can't break up with someone when they've been diagnosed. That's what Jeff thinks.
Oh, that's true.
So he's stuck to that principle. He's like, I can't just break up with her while she's going through this.
He's found a loophole.
Yes. And Dr. Phil happened to magically be on TV in that moment when she was on. Interesting how life works that way, huh?
Yeah.
Larry is in the waiting room and he spots Dr. Trundle's husband, because one of the things he asks in the waiting room, he sees a photo of Dr. Trundle's husband and he has a nice full head of hair. Sees the husband in the waiting room, he meets him and compliments his hair. The man walks off. A man named Dean, who is, I don't know if you remember him, Steve, he was Larry's neighbour in season 1. Remember The Wire? The one who loved Julia Louis-Dreyfus?
Yep.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, I recognised him.
You recognised him? Yeah. I had to look at him a couple of times. I'm like, Dean? Who's this? And I was like, oh my God, he was in season 1. Yeah, he was the one who loved JLD and tried to hook up that meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. So Dean, his former neighbor from season 1, recognizes Larry. Larry goes to hug him, and Dean has his glasses on. What are they, like straps? What are they called?
Like a strap, I guess.
Like a neck strap sort of thing.
Yeah.
Larry goes to hug him, and one of Dean's glasses lenses pops out, and they break. Dean says right away that he'll send Larry a bill to repair the glasses. Larry asks why is he sending a bill to do it? It was an accident. He said that Dean, Dean says he went for the handshake, and Larry said he saw Dean move forward and he thought he was going to go in for the hug, so he went for the hug as well. And he says, Larry says he's not responsible for the glasses because of this. Larry says to Dean that he will once he receives the invoice, he'll rip it up and pee on it. Dean says that he has cancer, and that's why he's here. And he tries to diffuse the whole situation. He's really calm. He's really, cool, calm, and collected. He's probably at peace with, his condition and stuff. And he's trying to get through it. Like many cancer survivors, people who suffer from cancer do. He tries to diffuse the whole situation, be the calmer person. And eventually Larry kind of feels bad for him. And he says he agrees to pay for the glasses. And Dean's like, no, you're going to help repair, get the bill to repair the glasses. And Larry's like, no, I'm going to pay for the glasses. It's like the terminology they're arguing about.
Yeah.
Hey, it's good to see a character from like several seasons ago back. I had to do a double take. I'm like, I've seen him before. Finally,
I didn't pick it at first, but then I eventually got it.
Yeah, nice. Because Larry and Cheryl have moved several times since, so it kind of makes sense. But yeah, that was awesome. It was good to have it was interesting, like, because it's not often in Curb we get characters who've been in the show, like in one episode several seasons ago, coming back. Very, very weird. Usually we might get a secondary character who pops up in a few episodes in a season, or maybe like, they might be in a couple of episodes last season, they might turn up in another episode this season, you know what I mean? Like, it's not often we get a character with such a long stretch of absence to come onto the show again. Very interesting.
Yeah, no, it was an interesting throwback.
I guess they probably needed to find someone who, who's been on the show that Larry kind of knows. They probably didn't want to do, they probably didn't want to have like a brand new random person, because it just kind of wouldn't make sense to go hug a stranger, would it? So it's good that they brought an old character back. Yeah. Albeit very briefly. Loretta and Larry are driving home, and Larry says that he has a pretty good vibe about Dr. Trundle. Loretta says that she will go to her lecture tomorrow, and it's implied that she has to break up with Larry to get through her cancer journey. So, and then Larry and Loretta have a bit of an argument, and Loretta doesn't say it, but we find out that's probably what Dr. Trundle said to Loretta. You have to break up with old mate. Old mate cunty Larry.
Yep.
Larry's at home and the front door bell rings. It's Richard Lewis. He blames Larry for causing their breakup. Larry jokes because Richard says that this is the most special girl he's ever dated, the most special relationship he's ever been in. Larry jokes about it, and Richard affirms that it is the most special, because one of the running jokes for Curb is every time Richard is in a new relationship, he says it's the most special one he's ever been in.
Yep.
It's like, this is
the latest one.
It's always the latest one, yeah, even though we know this one probably wouldn't have gone far anyway. Larry walks to the car with Richard to apologise to Beverly. And Larry said that he didn't actually have a cold sore, but he heard the oral sex story from Jeff, which is why he didn't want to speak to her on that night or do anything with her. Beverly gets angry at Richard and drives off. Richard's like, but I haven't had a blowjob in 5 years. And Beverly's like, you're not going to have another blowjob for another 5 years. And she drives off. Richard and Larry begin arguing, and Richard wonders how he's going to get home. And Larry's like, just catch the bus. And Larry walks back inside, and Richard's out the front. He's got no idea what to do. I assume he caught a cab or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny. It's like Richard's just been deserted. I just love that line from Beverly. It's like, yeah, you're not going to have another blowjob for at least 5 more years.
Yeah,
so,
a good zinger.
Good zinger, yeah, I know. It's great. Richard, I haven't had a blowjob in 5 years. And he was probably just so excited he had to tell the first person that he had a blowjob.
Yeah.
It's like he told Jeff. Yeah, he was like a kid, who got like an ice cream, and then he had to tell all his friends, I got an ice cream, that sort of shit. He just couldn't keep it in. Couldn't keep it to himself. Love it. Richard, he should have. Well, they say loose lips sink ships, don't they? And he's sunk another quote unquote special relationship.
Yeah, loose dicks sink something. I don't know.
The next day, Larry and Loretta are driving to the lecture as Larry praises Dr. Trundle. He spots her husband in the other car. He recognizes a man with like that really, Richard Gere-esque kind of, grey white mane. Dr. Trundle's husband pulls up in the lane in front of them, and he's driving in front of Larry. Dr. Trundle's head is up from her husband's lap area. It's implied that she is also filleting him in the car. Loretta spots this, and Larry and Loretta are bemused. Larry says she doesn't want to go to the lecture anymore. She doesn't trust someone like that to listen, and she wants to go home. She doesn't want to listen to someone who gives oral sex to someone in the car. But Larry's like, no, go. But Loretta's like, nope, I can't be with someone who does this to their husband.
Can't listen to their advice.
No, you can't listen to someone who does that. Even Loretta has, morals as well. Larry is back at Dr. Trundle's office to give the receptionist a check for Dean's glasses and asks them to give it to Dean when he comes in next time. Dr. Trundle walks in, asks to speak to Larry in his office, and she also asks her receptionist to hold all calls. They're in the office, and she claims to Larry that they didn't go to the lecture because she suspects that Larry was going to be told to leave Loretta. Larry smiles, and he denies this. He's bursting. I love how he's like bursting to tell Dr. Trundle like what he saw.
Yeah, it's like, no, you're far off the mark.
It wasn't that. He claims that she didn't go to the lecture because of what they witnessed in the car. Dr. Trundle claims that she dropped her cell phone near her husband's feet and went down to pick it up. And Larry says, no, I don't believe you. She gets really, really mad. She says that Larry is the kind of man she described in her book. And she gets so frustrated, she begins smacking Larry with her book. And her staff hear the commotion, and then she is restrained by her staff.
I do like how Larry's like, oh, I think you blew him.
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 Oh, so good.
He's being absolutely cunty to Dr. Trundle as well.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Oh my god, it's so good. It's so good. I love how she just starts beating him with a book.
Yeah, she whops him over the head. I mean, she's a pretty terrible person. Like
she's manipulative.
Her advice is pretty awful.
It is very awful. Like, you can't just look at a couple at face value because you can't just look at it at face value and be like, oh, you got to break up with this person. Because how do you know? Maybe they've got their struggles. Because, when people have cancer, it's not just the person with the cancer going through everything. It's the family too. Like, you're all going through the same shit. So different emotions kind of play out and all that sort of stuff too. So yeah, you can't just look at someone for like an hour, half an hour, an hour and be like, you can't just judge them and say, oh, they're toxic. Like, how do you know? Maybe it's the sufferer who's toxic. Maybe they're the dickhead.
Yeah.
Maybe they're the manipulative gaslighter. You know what I mean? You need like marriage counseling. Yeah. Someone who knows you very intimately. Who can, but I don't know. I think giving relationship, because she's a cancer doctor. She's not a relationship advisor or anything.
Yeah, she's not a therapist.
Yeah, she's not a therapist. She doesn't have authority to do that. Yeah, I think actually, you know what, her work, I feel is a bit immoral as well. I feel like she's probably broken up so many couples in the Curb universe who maybe had a shot of like reacquainting themselves or, reigniting their marriage through adversity. But I feel like she's just, superficially just, said, no, you got to break up with this person. And lots of couples have broken up. So she's actually a really bad person.
I think so.
She seems like one of those grifters. She goes on Dr. Phil to shill her books.
Oh, anyone who appears on Dr. Phil is a fucking grifter by default. Dr. Phil's a grifter.
Well, anyway, I don't want to get into that, but hey, excuse me, Mr. Steven. I'm not a grifter, okay?
Fuck off.
I'm not a grifter. Buy my book for $34.99, okay?
Yeah.
That's my worst Texan accent I can do.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
But no, honestly, Dr. Trundle, I think she's a morally bankrupt person and a morally bankrupt medical professional, and she should stick with just cancer treatment. Yeah. Imagine like you have a surgeon for something or whatever, and then suddenly they talk to you about relationship advice. It's like, what?
Yeah, you'd be a bit off it.
Yeah, you would. Yeah, you probably go to someone else. So yeah, it's kind of a good thing that Loretta didn't go. It kind of worked out. and she gets physically violent too. So she's very an angry person too.
Yeah.
Now, Stephen, you need to assess yourself, and you need to get some therapy. Okay. I'm not a grifter, but you can buy my course for $2,000, okay?
Exactly.
And I'll go through all the steps to calm down, okay? Love it.
We were driving to the lecture. We were on our way. Mm-hmm. And then I noticed your husband in the car ahead of us. And then you picked your head up off of his lap, and Loretta decided that she didn't want anything to do with a doctor who would, do that.
Who would do what?
Come on.
Oh, my God.
Larry pulls up to his driveway and he sees Leon and Alton's wife, his friend's wife, sneaking out the back door. Leon says you have to hide her. Alton's at the front door. The scene cuts to Leon, who's showing Alton around the house, and he says, look, your wife isn't here. As Alton apologizes to him and heads out the front door. Leon breathes a sigh of relief. Larry and Alton's wife are in the car together, and she's kind of bent down so she can't be seen in the car. Loretta pulls up, and from her vision, it looks like Alton's wife is blowing Larry in the car because her head pops up as well. And Loretta's like, oh, no, oh, you didn't. It's like, oh, shit. And the scene cuts to the black family, except Leon. They're all getting into a cabin, leaving him. And Loretta yells out, "You've had a taste of chocolate, and now you wanted some more. You couldn't get enough." And they're all packed in the car. Larry is totally shocked that the black family is gone.
He's shocked, but also kind of happy, I think.
A little bit as well, but probably more shocked at how abrupt it was.
Yeah.
Leon has some takeaway food, some Chinese food. He walks up and he's wondering what's going on. You think that Leon would be surprised or whatever, but he's a bit indifferent, really.
He just, nothing phases him.
Nothing phases him at all. And Larry asks what you're doing, and Leon says, "I'm just taking my Chinese food and going to eat it in my room." And he walks through the front door, and this is the moment where we find that Larry and Leon are going to become housemates. And this is a running thing in the series from here on in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there you go. So yeah, Larry and Leon end up being housemates.
Yep.
But that's the end of Loretta and the rest of the black family as well, with the exception of Leon. Yeah, I don't think we see them again for a while, if ever. Yeah, there you go. So right, so quick.
Yeah.
In the final scene, Larry is driving to Michael York's party. He leaves Richard a message. It's dark and he's in some kind of, I don't know, he's a bit confused. He doesn't really know where he's going. He spots a car wreck and he jumps out to see if everything's okay. And he spots Jeff with his pants down in the car. And Susie is in the other seat and she's on the ground and they're both stuck. So it's implied that, Jeff says that they tried some vehicular fellatio. And Jeff probably got so excited he went on the side of the road. Larry says they're stuck in the car. Well, Jeff says, they're stuck in the car because of their seatbelts. And Larry says we'll go get the box cutter he bought earlier to cut the seatbelt. He goes to his car. He retrieves the knife, which is in that really hard plastic that we spoke about before. And once again, he develops rap rage as he tries to open it. He ends up stomping on the knife. And the camera pans out to a wide shot. And that's the end of the episode and the music plays.
Nice.
Yeah, what a good ending, huh? I love it. I love how it was a nice twist where like you said earlier, we thought maybe the box cutter he got was the loose one, but he actually got it in the packaging.
Yeah.
And he had nothing to open it with.
Yeah.
That's a nice ending to the episode, I think. I think it's great.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it.
Lovely. Anyway, that was Vehicular Fellatio. I really, really enjoyed this one, Steve. 4.5 Larrys out of 5. What about you?
Yeah, I'm the same.
4.5? Yeah, sick. Definitely a classic episode and really, really fun. I think you mentioned, because you've watched the next episode. I haven't watched it yet. We'll record that next week. But you said episode 3 is the reunion where we see the Seinfeld gang.
Well, it's where you start to see. So Larry gets the idea to do a Seinfeld reunion. I won't say why, but what makes him go ahead with it. But yeah, he starts to approach the call for Jason Alexander, Julia Louis,
Jerry and
Michael Richards and Jerry, and convincing them to get on board.
Nice.
So it's the start of the process, but they're in it for most of the episode, which is awesome.
Nice.
They're all great and hilarious.
Can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
But going back to Vehicular Fellatio, I really enjoyed it. I think it was really good writing. Same, I really enjoyed Loretta, but I think you made a good point last week, or you might have been earlier, where you said that Larry and Loretta's relationship, I think you said last week, if it kind of dragged out, I think it would have been a bit too, would have gotten a bit too cumbersome over time. So it's kind of good that they cut it. And now Larry's got the next objective. He can kind of cut that out of his life now, and his next objective will be the Seinfeld reunion. So, I think it was really well written, and I can see why a lot of people enjoyed it. It was very, very, very smart writing. I liked it.
Yeah, no, I think this is a great episode.
Yeah, it was terrific. Yeah, very good. Thank you so much for listening to Curbcast. I hope you had a good time, and thank you so much for the support. You can listen to us on any podcast service, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, yada, yada, yada. And I guess we'll be back next week for the reunion episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm, season 7, episode 3. Can't wait.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
My name's Ivan.
And I'm Stephen.
Catch you next week. You take care of yourselves and each other. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. This podcast is part of Mishmash Media, an independent podcast network. Follow us on social media at Mishmash Media AU or support us on Patreon. All those links are in the show notes.